901-527-2583. That's 901-257-2583. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I am the Tefteller. You listen to Blues America. The blues. Keep on listening.
The good Lordy, send me your teasing brown. Good Lordy, send me your teasing brown. Hey, send me your teasing, pass me your angel down.
That's John Tefteller, my special guest today on Blues America, where the current topic of conversation has been focused on his world-famous record collection. And I should mention that we're hearing Brownskin Angel in the Music Bed by Hi Henry Brown, and that's featured in the 2018 Classic Blues Calendar that we'll talk about soon. All right. Now, John, as a collector, I can imagine that every time someone finds a box of old records in their parents' garage, they think they've stumbled upon a gold mine. They immediately call you.
I get those calls every day, sometimes 10 or 20 calls like that a day. And most of the time, they don't have anything of real value. I can give you a little bit of statistics and facts that might be interesting to your listeners. The average record collection in America in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s was a couple hundred records. That's even true into the 50s and 60s. The average record collection is a couple hundred records because there's usually a certain period of time in a person's life that they get introduced to music, that they get introduced to buying records, and they do it for a certain period of time, usually somewhere between high school, college, and early adult life, and then by the time they hit their 30s or 40s, they kind of cut back and don't really collect much anymore. So that's the standard range. It's a couple, 300 records. Now, when you run into somebody that's all of a sudden has 1,000 records or 5,000 records or more, that's somebody who was really into records and really collecting and really trying to seriously get all different kinds of things and accumulate a bunch of stuff that they were interested in. And those collections are much more interesting. So when I get a phone call and they say, well, I have a collection of records, my first question is, how many records do you think you have? And usually the answer comes back anywhere from 50 to 300. That's the normal range, is 50 to 300, and it averages out right about 200. And when I hear that, then I'm usually disappointed because unless that person or whoever they inherited them from collected black blues music from the 20s and 30s, they're not going to have much in there that's going to be particularly valuable. Even if they collected rock and roll and all that in the 50s and 60s, they're going to have the hit records. They're going to have the things that everybody liked, like Elvis or the Beatles or Bill Haley or the Rolling Stones or whatever it is. They're going to have all those big-name records, and all those big-name records, with very, very, very few exceptions, have little or no value. But what is not around, what is hard to find, is the stuff out of the Depression from late 1920s to the early 1930s, because at that point, most of the public had no money, and they weren't buying that many records, and especially the poor African Americans and the poor people in the hills of Kentucky and all that. They didn't have money for records, or if they did, it was very, very few, so they bought very, very few. They didn't tend to have money for good record players. They didn't have money to change the needles after every play like you were supposed to back then, and so they just ground those 78s down to nothing, and that's the magical period to find records from. It's the late 20s and early 30s. And that's what I deal with. I do have hit records here. I do sell hit records to people that still want them, but the majority of my business is rare and unusual records that are not popular, were not popular, and were made in much smaller quantities even then.
Yep. Well, we've reached the midpoint of the program. Lonnie Johnson takes us into the mid-break with his hit record, Tomorrow Night. This reached the top 20 on the pop charts and number 1 on the R&B charts in 1948 and stayed there for about 7 weeks. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow night, will you remember what you said tonight? Tomorrow night, will all the thrills be gone? Tomorrow night, will it be just another memory, or just another lovely song? It's in my heart to linger on. Your lips are so tender, your heart is beating fast, and you willingly surrender. Tell me, darling, will it last tomorrow night? Will you be with me when the moon is bright? Tomorrow night, will you say those lovely things you said tonight? Tomorrow night, will you remember what you said tonight? Tomorrow night, will all the thrills be gone? Tomorrow night, will it be just another memory, or just another lovely song? It's in my heart to linger on. Your lips are so...
Blues America is a member of the Blues Foundation. Learn more at blues.org.
Hey everybody, this is Big John Atkinson, and you're listening to Blues America, the real deal blues radio.
America.
America!
But more with this week's special guest, the star of the show, John Tefteller, when Blues America returns. But first, new blues from the contemporary siren of the blues. It's Samantha Fish and the R.L. Burnside-inspired blues of Poor Black Maddie, and that features Lightning Malcolm on lead vocals. That can be found on her new release, Belle of the West. And then the blues will continue at the break from Minnesota, also known around here as the Frozen Tundra. It's Wee Willie Walker, warming things up with the song Second Chance, and that's from his latest release, After a While. And don't miss the Way Way Back Blues. That's later in the program, and it features pre-war blues sounds of the Mississippi Moaner. We'll keep it right here for the second half of the show that's coming up in just a few minutes. This is Blues America, distributed to fine community radio stations by the Pacifica Network and PRX, Public Radio Exchange.
Hi, this is Bobby Rush. You listen to Blues America, the best radio station in town and all around. If you move your fingers off the dial, we will cut your fingers off.
Damn right!
Damn right! We got the blues. Brand new blues. It's so shiny.
Changing clothes.
Food got drawn. Close that door.
Close that door.
Poor Black Maddie.
Poor Black Maddie
ain't
got change
your clothes.
Fool got drunk, throw the trunk at door. Going to Memphis,
Down to Memphis,
Woodley Fair.
worldly fair.
Reading I'm going on my
I'm going,
baby's there.
my baby's there.
Going to Memphis,
Gone to Memphis,
see that Woodley Fair. Reading I'm going, call my baby there. Need no heater, fireplace by my bed.
by my bed.
Woman, I got
That woman I got,
cherry red.
cherry red.
Need no heater,
Need no heater,
fireplace by
by
my
my
bed.
bed.
Woman, I got keep me cherry red. Woman, I got
Woman I got,
keep me cherry
keep me
red.
cherry red.
Woman, I got
Woman I got,
keep me cherry red.
keep me cherry red.
Wait a minute, Big Mama. Blues America will be right back.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but as you grew up, things changed. Teaching just didn't seem like the best option anymore, so you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Interesting and innovative things are happening in teaching today, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Blues America is supported by Record High Vinyl Store in Phoenix, the place for serious music fans and vinyl collectors to find large quantities of first pressings, limited editions, box sets, audiophile, and vintage catalog, including blues, soul, jazz. They buy, sell, and trade, and offer vinyl cleaning and flattening service. Visit the store, located at 4242 East University Drive in Phoenix, or for more online at recordhighinphoenix.com. Like them on Facebook. Record High in Phoenix. Experience one of the last great record stores.
Hey y'all, I'm Blake Shelton. I love that country music connects people all over this great nation, but unfortunately so does something else, childhood hunger. 15 million children struggle with hunger in America. That's why the Feeding America nationwide